Hello everyone, my name is David Ray and welcome to this PIF Playback. This is the show where I review the Prairie Improv Federation shows, walk through the results of the different matches, all the big events, show some clips, and of course give you a rundown of what I think is going on, give you a little bit of commentary and insight. I've been a big improv sports entertainment fan for a very long time, following PIF back into the days when it used to be BIF, the Backyard Improv Federation, and frankly the show is much better now that it's in a theater itself instead of someone just yelling in their backyard somewhere. If you have an opportunity, you should come down to the Grindstone Theater for a monthly show and see it live. It's so much energy, so much fun. However, I understand that sometimes you got things to do on Saturday and you can't always make it down, or you don't live in Edmonton. I get it. That's why I'm here to kind of give you just a summarized version of the events that happened there. Now, this first episode is actually going to cover the first two big events, which was Smackdown and the Royal Bumble. Those two events have already passed, and we're looking forward to the Humiliation Chamber that is happening very soon. And I hope that you can come check that out. But let's get into what happened at Smackdown. The major event that happened at Smackdown was the introduction of the Intergalactic Improv Belt.
Some of you might be wondering, what's with the M? It means they are the most best improv person. Look, we're just starting out, okay?
And at the start of the episode, he tells us that there is going to be a tournament to determine who the first champion is. The first match of the night was between veteran superstar Gunny Mountain taking on newcomer Big Daddy Dalton. Now, I've been a big fan of Gunny Mountain for a long time. I remember watching his retirement match in 2016, his retirement match in 2017, his retirement match in 2018, his second retirement match in 2018, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth retirement match in 2018. And he's back trying to win the championship belt before he can retire with, you know, that achievement behind him. He took on this Big Daddy, who is surprising in this match.
It's the two of spades.
You know what the two of spades means, right?
It means that I'm tired of being your roommate.
That's right. You want to hold on to this? Like, what do you want from me?
Oh, don't tell me what it is.
And to be honest, I was thinking that maybe Big Daddy was going to win this. However, it came down to the decision at the end by Winston to give the win to Gunny. Not because of Gunny's performance, which was just fine in this match, but he decided to give it because he didn't feel Big Daddy had a character that was different than himself. Which to me is a little silly, if you ask me. If it's entertaining, that's kind of the point of improv. So the fact that he lost because he was making everybody laugh but didn't have a character, that's silliness, if you ask me. But nonetheless, Gunny gets to move on to the next match. The next match we have in the tournament is a heated rivalry, quite literally, between Pierce Royale and Trudell Moore. For you see, earlier, before the events of Smackdown, Trudell Moore had her house burned down by Pierce Royale. Devastating, probably one of the finest competitors in PIF, because Pierce is underhanded. Frankly, I'm surprised that, you know, he's not in jail for arson, because that's a crime. However, here we are resolving our problems on the improv stage.
Love. So if you died, it would be horrible. What? Can water kill? Does water kill?
The match went as you would expect. Trudell Moore was able to overcome the emotional distraughtness from losing her house because she is such a fine performer. Picks up the win and carries on towards the championship. Next, we get a backstage glimpse of Svetlana getting ready for her match against Liam the Cape Canaveral. And she's getting ready by considering when she should pull out her gun in the match. And it should be pointed out that this has always been her strategy. And frankly, I do not know why Winston Typhoon stands for it. Because pulling out a gun, not only is it just bad improv, it's dangerous.
And when will you come out? At the last moment before the lights come down, go directly at the top of the scene.
Then we go right into the match with Liam the Cape, who has been a long time competitor. He was the champion back when it was the Backyard Improv Federation. And the match was going along just fine up until the moment that Svetlana pulled out a gun and ended the match. Fortunately, the win did go to Liam, despite this egregious error on Svetlana's part. But this gets to my first point about Winston. Winston is a reckless kind of a commissioner. He doesn't have any regard for the safety of anybody. He might say that he cares about the safety of the other participants and the audience, but when he allows people like Pierce Royale and Svetlana Chekhov to compete without being impeded in any kind of regard, I don't take him seriously. Next, we have an impromptu tag team match set up by Winston between the teams of Big Daddy Dalton and Gunny Mountain taking on Svetlana and Pierce Royale. And this was a fun match for the most part. Right up until the ending of it, it was the aftermath that was a little bit much. I appreciated the bond that was starting to form between Gunny and Big Daddy. But even the performance by Pierce and Svetlana was very entertaining.
We're pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's most likely yours.
Great pregnancy!
And I do agree with Winston's initial gut instincts to give the win to Pierce and Svetlana. However, it's in the aftermath of this match where it's revealed that Svetlana still had guns all over her. And once again, she spoils her own win. She's kicked out. And it's also revealed that Pierce has stolen the championship belt, disqualifying them both. But this is where I'm coming back to. Winston needs to get rid of these two out of the Federation. Full stop. And this event actually leads to him giving a 30-day suspension to both of them, but they need to be expelled out. This is ridiculous. Of course, the worst part of the end of this match was the fact that Svetlana's gun that Winston had found goes off, and it actually winds up injuring Gunny's leg, setting him up for a disaster going into his final match of the night. And it definitely affects how he performs later on. We go from there and see a backstage segment where Liam and Trudell are discussing what this championship is going to look like. Trudell rightfully confronts Liam about the connection between Winston and Liam.
Yes, the Commissioner and I's heart beats as one, you are correct, but it will be not nepotism or whatever, nepotism but for best friends.
I believe it's called frienditism.
it's a concern of hers that it's going to affect this match. Now, fortunately, as we see in the championship match that follows, it does not affect Winston's judgment, as he winds up giving them the win to Trudell in that performance. Trudell is crowned champion, and I think she rightfully deserved it. It's a feel-good moment. She overcame such adversity at the hands of Pierce Royale, goes into this match against a competitor who, might be have a connection to the commissioner, and she wins it because she is a fantastic performer, and it's a great closeout to this edition of PIF known as Smackdown. We now transition to talking about the Royal Bumble, which is one of the most exciting events on the Improv Sports Entertainment calendar. This happened back in February, and we had the returning champ Trudell Moore, and she's going to be defending her championship against the winner of the Royal Bumble match, where we have some new competitors entering the fray. We have a special guest from the Maritime Improv Federation, known as the Highliner. It was amazing to see him perform, especially since this is his first improv scene.
What you may not know is that in the turn of the century, the other century, I was put into a cryogenic slumber in case of emergency. A great Canadian fish-related emergency, like a budget, smelly Captain America. And, well, they didn't thaw me out for the cod shortage of 1998, but they did thaw me out for this, so it's gotta be worth it.
The show kicks off with the lone stranger coming out and talking to the audience.
The only people around here is these two hang. And I brought them here to the Improv Federation to help clean up the league. Because there's a lot of dastardly sorts out around here. Namely one Pisces Medallion. Oh, that's right. The man who's trying to enslave all us good folks in the land. Oh, it just don't feel right seeing a man like that on this here stage. You know, that Pisces, I've gone all over the place, and I've seen many a person who would help me peel a banana, and I'd help them peel theirs. I wouldn't go out and touch any sort of fruit for that green monster.
They wind up having a match right then and there, and although Pisces Medallion is a fantastic performer, it is proven that he doesn't really understand how Earth works.
You must give me 28, 27, 28 right now, or Starbucks shall execute you.
That winds up costing him the match. Once again, showing and proving Lone Stranger's point. Next is a big match, because the winner of this match will be the last entrant into the Royal Bumble match later in the evening. And it's between Big Daddy Dalton, who is, once again, still pretty fresh to the improv sports entertainment scene, and Hope Joygood, who is, this is also her first episode doing improv in this kind of a situation. Normally she teaches improv in a church basement to youths. This is a much different place where, you know, this is for real. This is where everything's on the line. And these two are very sweet people. I've actually met both of them. Very kind, and they are wonderful to be around. However, it was strange. As you watched it, you can see that there was like a little bit of an air of tension between them.
These days, I mean, I don't know if you've checked out the buffet lately, but you have been keeping an eye on your kids.
They're off at University of Calgary?
Oh no, I'm not talking about the ones that have like grown up and left you alone and don't call you anymore.
And they went into this match. The match was fantastic. A lot of great jokes, a lot of laughs that happened. And at one point, Pisces Medallion comes out partway through and kind of adds to the match. And there is a concern by Big Daddy that this is affecting the match, that he's spoiling it. He's tipping it towards Hope's favor.
He wasn't supposed to be in this scene? What is going on?
Let him support
And I can't disagree with him. But Winston says it's okay, and in the end, Hope winds up winning. I think partially because of the interference by Pisces Medallion. Now up next is a match that's supposed to take place between the Highliner and the Lone Stranger. And this is going to determine who is the second last person to enter into the Royal Bumble. Now, before this happens though, there's a discussion with the Highliner where he points out that this
Pisces Medallion? Everybody knows that's Latin for fish cake. I eat fish cakes for breakfast.
With these words, it leads Winston to turn this match into a triple threat and adds Pisces Medallion into it. What follows is a very fun match, and the win actually winds up going to the Highliner, which I totally agree. I think it really shows his adaptability to the world of improv. I was very impressed with this performance. Now is time for the big Royal Bumble match. This is what we've all been waiting for. And once again, because of their wins earlier in the night, we have Hope Joygood going last in the Royal Bumble, and we also have the Highliner going second last. And the match itself is one where if you use the letter B, you're eliminated, and it really puts people to the test. And what follows is an amazing match.
Yuck. Yeek.
No, thank you. Don't want it.
Not my problem.
The newcomer, Hope Joygood, wins the match, and she earns on her very first episode of PIF, she gets a chance to take on the champion, Trudell Moore. We catch up with the losers from the Royal Bumble match as they go over what happened out there. And it's at this point that Gunny confronts the Highliner about feeding him a whole bunch of cod earlier in the night. Gunny believes that this is what led him to lose because he was so full up on cod, and in a fit of anger decides to challenge the Highliner right then and there to a match in the backstage. So we have on our hands a hardcore match, and not just any hardcore match, but a Daddy Don't hardcore match, where Big Daddy, Gunny's fatherly figure, steps in and kind of oversees the match.
I thought this was room 301.
Daddy don't?
I thought this was my room.
Daddy don't?
I'm happy to be here.
The Highliner stands above everybody once again, and proving that cod from Newfoundland is better than Alberta beef. Sorry, they proved it in improv. Now it's time of the night for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Intergalactic Improv Championship match between the champion Trudell Moore and the winner of the Royal Bumble match, Hope Joygood. Hope is over her head, frankly. She's a little bit starstruck, and what is supposed to be this monumental fight turns into a squash match. Trudell just takes over the scene, ends it with one line.
I'm going to eat your little sister.
Proving that Trudell deserved to be champion. However, there's concern going forward. Is this going to go to her head? We don't know. We shall see next time on the Humiliation Chamber. Speaking of the Humiliation Chamber, I hope that you can come out and check it out live. As much fun as it is to watch a review show about an improv show, it is something else. With the energy of the crowd there, you can cheer on the heroes, boo those who deserve to be booed, and the Humiliation Chamber event is something else. Trudell Moore will actually be defending her belt against several other competitors. Svetlana and Pierce are going to be returning after their 30-day suspensions. Who maybe Winston will finally get his act together and keep them in order. Liam the Cape Canaveral is also back after a performance up on the International Space Station. Pisces Medallion should also be interesting because those two, they do not see eye to eye. It's going to be dynamite to see those two together. All I know is that I'm going to expect big, monumental events to happen at the Humiliation Chamber. Don't miss it. Hopefully we'll see you there. And if you can't make it out, follow us on YouTube and you can see all sorts of events put on by Sorry Not Sorry Productions, but especially Prairie Improv Federation. This is the pinnacle of improv sports entertainment, mostly because it's the only improv sports entertainment there is. With that, we'll see you next time. Take care. And that is the first episode of the PIF Playback. Normally episodes will not be this long, but this one covered 2 episodes of PIF. If you want to watch the full episodes of PIF, you're welcome to do that. We have them on our YouTube page. If you hit subscribe as well as click the little bell, you'll be notified of any future episodes of PIF as well as other shows made by Sorry Not Sorry. Follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SNSYEG, or visit our website, sorrynotsorry.ca. Thank you very much for watching.